Good morning. Today is February 28th. It's a Tuesday. The year is 2023. The Insurance Committee of the Tennessee House of Representatives of the 113th General Assembly is now in session. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Capley, Sapicki, Davis, Freeman, Haynes, Hemmer, Hicks, Johnson of Montgomery, Johnson of Knox, Lafferty, Mitchell, Ritchie, Rudd, Rudder, Sparks, Terry, Thompson, Vice Chairman Martin, Chairman Kumar.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members, do we have any personal orders? Representative Johnson of Knox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a young man here shadowing today, and his name is Aiden Pratt. So say hey to Aiden.
Any other? Members, I do want to bring your attention to a professional organization from which we had some brochures and I sent them over to your offices. It is called NCOIL, National Conference of Insurance Legislators. It's a large active body. They meet 4 times a year. And there are breakout sessions covering various parts of the insurance industry, from life to health, casualty, property, and so on. These are very useful sessions. I've attended 2 of those meetings over the last few years, and they were very helpful. They also would give you some model legislation, and I think a couple of the legislation that I'm bringing this year about, and I presented it last year, called GINA, that is Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, that came from NCOIL. So there are 2 things that NCOIL would like to do. One, they would like to come and visit us here and give a presentation essentially about what they do and cover various aspects of the insurance industry. And we need a response from the audience if we are interested in having them here. It'll be a presentation. The second part is that you are welcome to attend one of their meetings. They have 2 scholarships for each meeting. Meetings are 4 times a year, and we can give you that information. It's in the brochure as well as on their website. Again, NCOIL, National Conference of Insurance Legislators. And the other part is also that there is a scholarship available that will cover travel expenses, including air and hotel, for attending that conference. So it's a good meeting. If you're interested in building a career as an insurance legislator, give it some serious thought. And if you want to go, the information is available. And they would like 2 people from 2 legislators from Tennessee definitely to come. And Tennessee pays dues to join this organization so that those funds are available out of the dues that our state has paid. Are there any questions about it? Well, thank you for your indulgence. We will go on to session. We have 8 bills on our calendar, and the first bill is House Bill 1213 by Chairman Vaughn. Do I have a second? I'm sorry, motion first. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized on House Bill 1213.
Thank you, Chairman Dr. Kumar. Good morning, members. I'm here to present HB 1213 on behalf of our good friend, Speaker Sexton. A few years ago, we passed the Right to Shop Act. I have an amendment. It is an amended version. Chairman, it is drafting code 4097.
That is true. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. We can adopt it, and then you can explain to us the amended bill. All those in favor of adopting amendment 4097, please say aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Currently, there's not a viable way. This, as I was saying, it's an amendment to, or an alteration to our Right to Shop Act. What this will give patients is a viable avenue by which to negotiate a fair price, particularly with out-of-service or out-of-network providers in non-emergency situations for a direct payment to the provider. What this bill will require then is for once the patient has filed the appropriate paperwork, then they'll get credit for that direct to provider payment on their deductible, their insurance deductible. If I wanted to go, if my plastic surgeon happened to be out of network and I said, look here, I know you want to charge me $2,500, but I think $1,500 is enough, and they take it, well then I write them a check for $1,500 and I send the paperwork into my insurance company. I come out happy, beautiful, refreshed, and I'm getting credit for my deductible. So that's how the bill is intended to work, sir.
Well, life is good. Members, do we have any questions for Chairman Vaughn? We have a question. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 1213. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The bill goes on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman, Doctor, and Committee.
Thank you.
By the way, I don't really go to a class. I just look like I have a class.
It's a delight. Second item, House Bill 0801 by Chairman Zachary. We have a motion and second. There is no amendment with it. And Chairman Zachary, you're recognized on House Bill 0801.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. Members, back in 2019, we unanimously passed the Proton Therapy Access Act. That has a sunset on it. This simply reenacts that Proton Therapy Access Act. No other changes were made. With that, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Well, thank you. Members, do you have any questions? None, and questions been called. All those in favor of House Bill 0801, please say aye. Opposed? The bill goes on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee, and Representative Mitchell.
Item 3 is the House Bill 0895 by Chairman Hurt. He is here. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Hurt, you're recognized on House Bill 0895.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Bill 895 codifies an administration process specifically for TennCare's telehealth services. And basically, it helps vendors get an enrollment ID, which will allow more Tennesseans the ability to be served by telehealth services. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
I do understand that the physicians that provide these services are licensed in Tennessee, even if they are out of state.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Members, do we have any other questions? Seeing none, without objection, we are voting on House Bill 0895. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The bill goes on to calendar and rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee.
Number 4, we have House Bill 0608 by Chairman Hawk. We have a motion and second. Chairman Hawk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and members. House Bill 608 eliminates a pre-licensing course of study that's mandated by Tennesseans currently. Currently, state law makes us take a 20-hour minimum prep class for a Tennessee candidate to take the insurance licensing exam. This is not really shown to be very helpful, so it takes the mandate away, Mr. Chairman and members.
Thank you. So the requirements for the course stay, but people are smart enough to do it without a course.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, members? Chairman Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sponsor, for this particular piece of legislation was brought to my attention back, I believe it was in December. My concern with removing the pre-licensing requirement that is currently in place is the level of entry for individuals getting into the insurance industry is pretty low to begin with. And we're providing financial advice to the consumers and citizens of the state of Tennessee. And my concern is that if we don't have this step in place, that we could be putting people to be able to get their license, given advice on what insurance policies that they could end up selling, which could adversely impact their estate, their beneficiaries, and things of that nature. What is the state's plan for making sure that those folks have that additional information?
Chairman Hawk?
Thank you. They still have to pass the test before they can sell product. So it just does away with the study test that someone takes, but they still have to pass the exam to be able to sell the products that are trusted by others out there. So that's the process. Bless his heart, I've got a constituent right now who's failed a part of his test 4 times, and he's having to retake it for a 5th and 6th time, and there's a waiting process. So until they pass, they cannot sell product.
Representative Ritchie? Representative Freeman, you're recognized.
Thank you. You keep using the word prep. My understanding is that it's a pre-licensing course, not a prep. That there's a secondary group company that actually will allow you to pay for a test prep, but this is pre-licensing. Is that an accurate reflection of?
Chairman Hawk?
We may be talking semantics in terms of the language of prep course or pre-licensing course. Ultimately, as I answered to the representative prior, there still has to be passage of the licensure test or passage of the test to receive license. So it may be semantics in terms of the word we're using of prep or pre-licensing, but still they have to pass the ultimate test. Does that help?
Representative Freeman?
Yes, I think it does, but I just want to make sure and note that even in the language of your bill, it says pre-licensing. It's not a prep. And so those voting, assuming we're doing away with a prep for a test that you can pass, that's not actually what we're doing. It's a pre-licensing course. Many other industries have a pre-licensing course that require you to understand the broad implications of what you're doing. And then you have a much less comprehensive test to understand whether or not you understand the base level. My understanding is that if we do this, that we should probably redo the test now, which is going to be another issue that we're going to have to bring back, that the test is not fully encompassing everything that you need to do, and is not everything that's included in the pre-licensing. There are several industries, construction, real estate. I mean, these are just ones that I'm familiar with, that you are required to take a pre-licensing course to have a broad understanding of the ramifications of your decisions and your actions. You are then required to take a test, and you can pay for a separate prep, which is the same process within the insurance industry, where you take a pre-licensing course, and then there are companies that pay for a prep after the fact for you to be able to prep for the test. So if that is not an accurate representation of reality, I would appreciate the correction. Thank you.
Chairman Hawk?
Thank you for the suggestions on the language improvement as I described the bill, and I'll certainly take that into consideration, and we'll describe it more as a pre-licensing mandate that's currently there. And you make a good point. There are industries that do require pre-licensing, have pre-licensing mandates, but there are those that don't as well. You don't have to take a pre-course for the bar exam or other things in terms of industries and other professions, but it's always suggested. But the fact that there's a mandate to take this is what we're concerned about, and we're just removing the mandate. It doesn't stop an individual from taking those, and I'll use the word, the pre-licensing exam that you used. It doesn't stop someone from doing that. It just says we're not mandating them to do that.
Representative Freeman?
I mean, just, I guess to follow up, you brought up the bar. The bar is a very comprehensive test that people study for 3 years. You go to law school for however many years. I don't even know how many. I'm not a lawyer. So I appreciate it. I've said my piece. Thank you.
I think the point is good. Wonder if the test that is given takes into account that people have learned some stuff from the pre-licensing exam, and therefore the test does not need to be that comprehensive. That's an implication. What do you think, Chairman Hawk?
One more time, Dr. Kumar.
The implication is that since the candidates have taken a course, pre-licensing course, the test does not need to be that thorough. They've learned enough stuff. And so the test is not as comprehensive. I wonder.
In my mind, I think there's 4 segments of the course to get an insurance license, and individuals must pass all 4 segments. I mentioned the young man in my district right now who's struggling on, and I can't remember exactly which of the 4 segments he's struggling on, but it's not an easy course.
Okay, so
it is not an easy course. There are requirements. I don't know who you have on your list to bring up in terms of folks to testify on this piece of legislation, but if someone would like to testify to the validity of the test that does ensure we have qualified insurance agents in the state of Tennessee, I have faith that it is a very stringent test to get folks qualified.
no, thank you for that explanation. We do not have anybody to testify, but we do have Chairman Rudd. You recognize?
Yeah, I'd like to address a few things. 14 years ago, I believe it was 14 or 15 years ago, my job to move out of state, and I was trying to decide what career I wanted to have. So I got an insurance license and a real estate license at the same time. I had friends in both industries, and I would assume it's still the same. What you refer to as the prep test or the pre-licensing. Virtually every state licensee in every field, there are multiple tests that no one test covers all of a particular industry. They do that. So let's say there's 5 insurance tests so that no one can copy that test. So the classes teach how you can pass all 5 of those tests. They have no idea which test you'll be taking that day. But the insurance industry, and I assume it's still the same, when I got my license, are one of the few industries where you can't get your license as an insurance agent unless you are affiliated with a company and you go out with other existing agents to get trained once you've taken your test. If that's still true, that's a lot of excess training. When you get your real estate test, you just get it and you're ready to go. Of course, you have to work from a mortgage company. I'm not a mortgage, a broker, to be able to cash your commission check. But insurance, there is a lot of, there's complicated tests. There are different sections, and you do have to work through an insurance company with trained agents before they'll let you loose on society. So there is a lot of, the insurance agents probably have to go through more. And I think if you're a person who already works in the insurance industry, but maybe not a licensed agent, this would enable them to get their license quicker and help the company. So I would imagine that's who it's aimed for. But again, I would assume you still have to affiliate through a insurance company and be trained by the insurance agent out in the field before you can be operating independently.
I stand corrected. We do have somebody available from the industry who can answer some of the questions. Would that be acceptable to you, Chairman Hawk?
If it's acceptable to the chair and the committee.
Do we have Ms. Suzanne Loomis? We will go out of session and we will let her explain some things. And members, those of you who have questions, you can ask her. Okay. All right. Before we go out of session, Representative Freeman, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I just want to clarify the statement. When you get your real estate license, you do have to have your license with a broker, but you also have to do post-licensing education and pre-licensing education. And it's not a test prep. It's a making sure you understand the ramifications of your industry. So there are both pre and post licensing requirements that you have to have for your real estate license.
For all professional licensees to continue education.
I didn't hear that was what you said, so I'm just making sure.
I didn't address that particular subject. That had not come up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
We have an additional comment on the matter. Representative Ritchie, you can break the tie.
Thank you, Chairman. So background, I've recruited over 300 individuals into the insurance industry that had to go through and take the pre-licensing exam. When it comes to the logistics of state law with these particular license, I'm a real estate agent as well. A real estate agent only has to have their license hung with a broker to be able to end up making it satisfying that. Whereas on the insurance side, you can go out, anybody sitting in the audience right now can go online and they can take the test and then they can end up getting their license. They have, I believe it's 2 years to hang their license with somebody. So there's no requirements to answer what Representative down here from me was Chapman. Well, I didn't want to mention your name because then I go to you. But so what that would end up doing is it would allow folks to be able to take their license. And my understanding on this particular bill, the specific company that's interested in bringing this and why it brings question and why I'm not in favor of it is although it's a very great, phenomenal company, excellent rating and all that, a lot of the individuals that are employed there are plumbers by day, contractors, other things. So they're part-time insurance agents. And if we end up lowering the bar by eliminating this pre-licensing, I think we're doing a disservice to the citizens of Tennessee by having this check and balance in there. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, thank you. That representative was the honorable gentleman to your right. We will go out of session. Ms. Lomas, please have a seat. Make sure your mic is on. Introduce yourself, and we welcome your comments.
Good morning, members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me to be here this morning. My name is Suzanne Loomis, and I'm with Primerica Life. We are a Tennessee domestic company and are very proud to be domesticated in the state of Tennessee. We were founded in 1977. We have in the state of Tennessee 2,000 insurance agents, and we also have some small part of those 300 that have decided to sell mutual funds. The initiative we're speaking to today is not a Primerica initiative at all. It is actually an ACLI initiative, which is an industry-wide initiative. And what the industry-wide initiative is intended to do is to correct a disparity that has been in place in the United States for 20 years. 25 states are on one side of this and 25 are on the other. And it's been that way for 20 plus years. 25 states say that there is no mandate as to how you prepare for the course. 25 states say, we're going to mandate you go to a private company and pay them. The interesting thing about the mandate is that the NAIC, which is a national organization, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, has done research which shows that there is no difference between pass rates on the insurance exam for those states that have the mandate and those that don't. So we have a mandate in place that benefits private companies that produces no result whatsoever on the pass rate of the individuals. And I think we will find that in those states that don't have the mandate, the pass rate is the same because the course is a preparatory course for the test itself. And the test is the litmus test. An important thing also to remember is the impact on this. Of the 25 states that don't regulate the course under federal law, those states can license people and come into Tennessee. That will then be able to do business in the state of Tennessee. So this really means that the way the situation is right now, Tennessee is actually penalizing its residents over its non-residents. And that's why we are seeing so much change at the national level to bring this in accordance. So Louisiana has made a change, Nevada's made a change, Alabama's making a change. And so the shift is going to start changing, and I think we'll see by the end of the year that 30 states are now saying, we don't want to penalize our in-state residents, especially when there's no difference in the pass rate on the test. Tennessee's test is just as difficult, as you know from people that have tried it, as any other test. And those tests as to the content of the test are mandated and discussed at a national level. So we are hoping that, and especially as a Tennessee Domestic. We're proud to be helping the ACLI, the national organization, and the National Association of Insurance Commissioners to try and bring Tennessee into accordance with the other states.
Well, thank you for your remarks. Speaker Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here. What is the average cost for a pre-licensed test or course?
I wish I could tell you what the average is, and I don't know. I apologize for that. I know they can run as high as $400 and $500.
And what is the cost to actually take the test?
That test is paid direct to the department, and it's generally about $60 to $80.
So in Chairman Hawk's example of his friend that had taken it 4 times, that would be similar to a pre-licensing test, wouldn't it, if you've taken it 4 times?
You'd have to pay every time.
Right.
So, yes, that would be a financial burden to take that thing 4 times. It certainly would. I think the underlying thing we realize, and we don't guess at this, we know because of the 25 states that haven't had the mandate for 20 years, we don't have to guess what are people doing in those states. We know what they're doing. They're taking a course. That's exactly what they're doing.
Right.
Because it's not like it's something you intuitively know. And that's why the pass rates are the same. People are voluntarily taking a course that helps them understand and prepare for the test in a way that is good for them, whether it be online or in person. It's going to give much more flexibility. But we do know is that even in those 25 states, all of the companies that offer the test are still in business, and they're still offering it, and people are still paying to take it. But hopefully not paying to take the test 4 times, but yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Mitchell, you're recognized. Okay. Any more questions for our witness? Well, Ms. Lomas, thank you for clarifying matters. We will go back into session. Representative Mitchell, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a day or two since I took this prep course, but the one thing I fondly remember during the prep course, more or less you just have another insurance agent who's not specialized, doesn't have any more credentials than the next guy on the street. They're up there teaching the class. They're reading a script. And they're more or less, as you're going through the book, hey, highlight this because that's going to be a question on the test. So they more or less go through, you sit there 3.5, 4 days of them telling you literally, there may be 5 different tests, but if you can memorize 60 different questions, you're probably going to pass. And I mean, I don't see the necessity of paying these organizations $400 for people to go sit there when many of these folks have other jobs. They're trying to start a new career, but they need to go to their other jobs. And a lot of them can't afford to take off those 4 days to do this. We've got 24 hours of continuing education now that we require for these folks. And yeah, I mean, you say, Representative, we may be lowering the bar. I'm sorry, I think the public can judge that because, the bar is low already. When I'll go to an open enrollment and there's one supplemental company, they'll have 3 or 4 agents show up and they're fighting over who gets to do the enrollment at a business as I'm trying to renew their health insurance. So the bar is already low, folks, but I think the general public can judge who they want selling them something. Over, on the financial side, if someone's getting into something like that, they're going to have to pass their Series 6 or Series 7 exam, and they're going to have to go to a class, and they're going to have to do some preparation to pass something like this. But I think where this bill will assist is a third-party administrative company. Someone wants to be an account executive for that company. They're not out there selling insurance products every day to the public, but they're working with an insurance broker or something to take care of a client. And many TPAs now require that account executive have an insurance license. So just the quickness of that person being able to be prepared to do that job. I think that's where this piece of legislation is going to help, on raising the bar or not. Going to that class for 3 or 4 days is not going to raise the bar one way or the other, I can assure you, but it may assist in helping several industries in this state get jobs filled quicker to help the general public. Thanks.
Thank you. So what you're saying is that the bar is low, but the competition is high. Representative Ritchie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And to clarify, the securities, the FINRA exam is on the financial side. There are tax implications that end up coming in with a life insurance policy. When we look at unified tax credits, we start getting over the estate tax issue. Somebody selling a simple term life policy can create serious tax implications for a family and their estate. And then I pulled up ExamFX is a very common course that a lot of students use, and they've got a $169 prep course online.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions and without objection, members, we are voting on House Bill 0608. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Kindly record that with the clerk. The ayes prevail. The bill goes on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman, members.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk.
I'm going to
We'll
be
move
here a
on
while. I'm sorry, Chairman.
We'll move on to the next item. House Bill 0609 by Chairman Hawk. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, members. House Bill 609 seeks to allow a new insurance product to be sold in the state of Tennessee, which will cover paid family leave. This insurance product will be regulated and authorized by the Department of Commerce and Insurance. It is a market-based solution and would be optional to businesses in Tennessee when this product is created. This bill, as the chairman was speaking about NCOIL earlier, the National Council of Insurance Legislators, this is model legislation from them. It is called the Paid Family Leave Insurance Model Act. Happy to answer any questions that the committee members may have.
Thank you for the plug for NCOIL. We've been talking about that. Members, do you have any questions? Representative Johnson of Knox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you know about what a policy like this would cost?
Chairman Hawk.
Thank you, Chairman. This is in its infancy. So this is just some enabling legislation that would allow companies to come to Tennessee with this product. We've got to get, I say we, the country and the insurance industry would have to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 states engaged in this to create a market pool for individuals. There is no idea at the moment what the cost would be, nor the time frame that the paid family leave would be. Not sure what the time frame is. This just creates some enabling legislation to allow us, the insurance industry, to have discussions about bringing this to the state of Tennessee and our businesses to offer this as a benefit to their employees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No, thank you for doing this. You're right. This is a market-based solution because this way the society will pay for it for the benefit they will get. Otherwise, we'll pay it through taxes if government does it. I think that's a good step. I hope it happens soon. Members, without objection, we are voting on House Bill 0609. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The bill goes on to government operations. Thank you, Chairman Hawk.
Thank you, Chairman.
Next
members.
will be, yes, the Hawk calendar. 0610, also by Chairman Hawk. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and members. Currently in the state of Tennessee, insurance writing business pays $1.13 billion in premium taxes. The Tennessee premium tax imposes a higher tax burden on Tennessee insurance companies as compared to other taxes on other Tennessee business. What we're looking at doing with this piece of legislation is to provide domestic insurers with a premium tax credit for the cost of mandatory financial examinations conducted by the Tennessee Department of Financial Institutions. There was a question that came up in subcommittee if our TennCare MCOs would be included in this. I don't see Chairman Sapicki here, but the answer to that is yes, but that would not affect their loss ratio. So in a nutshell, this gives a little bit, about 0.1% back to our insurance companies for what they're paying in terms of the premiums now at $1.13 billion. Ready to answer any questions, Chairman and members.
Members, do we have questions? Well, thank you. Seeing none, the benefit that will return to the policyholders will be, do you have an idea? Will it be $5 or $10 or? You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. In the scheme of things, when we're looking at 0.1%, what is being paid in, it will be small, but it will be spread out amongst several consumers of these insurance products that we see. So I can't put a dollar figure on it, or if it's a penny figure on there, but it will be an ability for lower rates for consumers in the end.
Well, thank you. Without objection, if there are no further questions, questions been called. We are voting on House Bill 0610. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes prevail. The bill goes on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
The last of your agenda, that is the Hawk agenda. Item 7, House Bill 887. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized on House Bill 887.
Thank you, Chairman and members. I appreciate your indulgence this morning. House Bill 887 permits a plan sponsor company to provide electronic delivery of all communications related to a plan's insurance policy.
Excuse me, we forgot that we
Yes.
do have an amendment.
Forgive me.
I have a drafting code 4037.
Yes, that is correct.
We have a motion and a second. Let us attach the amendment. Without objection, all those in favor of attaching Amendment 4037 to the bill, please say aye. Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Please continue.
Thank you. And as amended, provides the insured individual the opportunity to opt out of receiving information electronically. They'll have to confirm insurance routinely using the electronic communication. So be happy to answer any questions that you've got. That may be the easiest way to go down, Chairman and members.
Questions, member? This is another one of those go paperless.
And I will say, without getting too deep in the weeds, this is something that the insured, the individual who's buying the policy, they will have to agree to this being done electronically. It's not something that's going to be sprung on them. So they will have to agree to that. Communications will be electronic after that. But if they choose to opt out, then they will be able to opt out and receive paper communications again. So this is something that an individual insured must opt into. And then should they not like the process, they can opt out in the future. Chairman and members.
Well, thank you. We are enlightened. Any questions, members? Seeing none, without objection, we are voting on House Bill 887. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes prevail. The bill goes on to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Chairman
Thank
and
you.
members. I love you all.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk. Our last item on the bill is House Bill 355 by Representative Alexander. We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you,
You're
committee.
recognized. we do have an amendment,
Yes,
4261.
yes, sir.
Members, do I have a motion and a second? We do, and without objection, we are voting on attaching Amendment 4261 to House Bill 0355. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The amendment goes on the bill. You're recognized.
What this bill does is basically, I came before you last year with a bill for screening for breast cancer, and this bill takes it one step farther for diagnostic with women. About here, I've got to find what I was going to tell you. The 1 out of 6, I think it's like 11 to 16 women that go through screening also have to go through further diagnostic exams, and a lot of them choose not to do it because they can't afford to do it. So this takes the cost out of the diagnostic imaging. I have carved out in the amendment the high premium accounts like the HSAs for the benefit that they would have to meet their deductibles.
Well, thank you for explaining that amendment. Representative Freeman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, and to the sponsor, thank you for bringing this bill. You shared the intent and the wording of the bill with me earlier, and I just want to think it's important sometimes to put a face and a person on what these types of this type of legislation could do, and the people they could help across our state. Many of you know my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, and she had to do additional imaging. And we were in a fortunate position that it wasn't a financial burden on us like it was other people. But some of the saddest days I would have was sitting in the hospital directly across from the financial aid office, and you would see people walking in that were literally making decisions over life and death because they didn't have the money to do it. And I looked at the fiscal note there, and I'm surprised that it would increase because the cost to treat specifically breast cancer is significantly less the earlier you catch it. So this will allow us to catch and diagnose breast cancer earlier than we would otherwise, which I would contest would actually end up saving us money. So I plan on signing on as a co-sponsor, and thank you for always being such a loud and vocal advocate for breast cancer issues.
Thank you, Representative.
Well, thank you. I want to thank the members. It's very good of them or honorable of them to open up personal lives, personal stories, and be able to convey that these are things that affect everybody. They affect us, our citizens, and our constituents, and our society. I think it's very brave of you members to open up in a personal way. And thank you for doing this. It will help ease the burden upon many people. Any other questions, members? Seeing none, we are voting on House Bill 0355. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes prevail. The bill goes on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members, if there is no other business, kindly remember, we will send you an email about NCOIL. 2 things. 1, do we want a presentation from them? Secondly, do you want to attend a meeting? It'll be in an exotic city. Thank you. We stand adjourned.